I'm Kasey Stone with Clerestory Design, and we are starting a new old project today. And I say old because we are back at my very first project that Clerestory ever did. It happens to be my parents' house, and we're gonna do a little bit of roof work this week. So we have rented a lift. We're getting ready to get this in place, and then we're getting ready to go up. All right, we are backing in place, working it down the driveway. You can see part of the house has a one-story roof. That's easy to work on. The house was elevated around '07, so this is almost like a 3-story roof. So we want safety first. We are renting this lift so that we can get up there and do a good, safe job. So a little bit about the house. It was built in 1891 by Ira Congleton and his wife Sally Congleton. Originally, the house had a shake roof, and you can actually still see those shakes in the attic, but this old tin roof is pretty darn old. And of course, we want to preserve that, but it needs a little love. We have one little spot that we think is leaking. It's like a nail leak that we see some dampness in the attic. We've got some rust spots that we're gonna address, and then we're gonna do a coating on the top. But like I said, first we gotta get this lift in place. All right, so we have the lift kind of where we think we want it to go. These guys are strong enough to move it a little bit. It's got 4 feet that go out, and now we're trying to strategically put it so that we don't crush the boxwoods. All right, so we're just gonna adjust it about a foot. Hopefully, we're gonna adjust it about a foot. Okay. And now we think we will miss 2 boxwoods and whatever this is, ladybanks or something growing right there. All right, we're gonna give it a try again. Yes. Perfect. Perfecto. So now this has a self-leveling system, and it actually won't let you crank it up until it is level, because safety first. All right, here goes nothing. We're just gonna go up and scope it out from a different vantage. And by we, of course, I mean Giovanni. All right, so while Gio is up there scoping out the roof, I thought I'd tell you a little history of the house. So this is the Congleton house, and it was built in 1891 by Ira Congleton. He was a builder, and his wife Sally, and they built the house on the lot that Sally bought with money that she had inherited from her father, which is kind of a unique story for that time period. And then it was only owned by Congletons until 2006 when we purchased it. It had been vacant for many years. We came in and completely renovated it. We elevated it so that it would not flood and would meet all the codes. We rewired, replumbed, completely renovated it. That was in '06 to '08, '09. It took a little while. And so now we are, it's time for some updates. So we have spent a considerable amount of time going to Sherwin-Williams and Lowe's, getting all the materials that we needed. We busted out the pressure washer, and it really wasn't working well. Gio went and got his pressure washer from the shop that has been repaired, and I neglected to take footage, but Gio went up there and pressure washed the whole 2-story part of the house. So what we're gonna do now is pull it forward. You can see here comes the truck. We're gonna pull the lift forward so that we can get to the 1-story part. Now, all of this roof up here is fairly new because this was an addition that, well, there was a dilapidated addition there that we tore down. So that's a new roof, but there's just a little bit on the other side of this wall, a little bit of 1-story roof that is original, and it needs some attention too. So we're gonna pressure wash it so that we can work on painting it later. But all of this is clean. We're gonna let that dry. We need to do a little sanding on some of the rust spots, and then we're gonna prime the whole thing. We also have to check the flashing on the chimney that's on the far side that you can't see from here. We're about to call it a day, but since we already had the pressure washer out, we decided to hit that nasty spot right up there and get that cleaned up too. So the guys are gonna take care of that real quick. The rest of it looks pretty good, but it's super nasty right there where water bounces off the roof and back up onto the siding. So we're gonna just pressure wash that real quick since we've got the pressure washer here. That's satisfying. Good morning, y'all. It's day 2 at the stone house. Yesterday we got everything pressure washed. We've waited a little bit this morning. We feel like it's pretty dry, so we are now getting ready to go back up in the lift and start priming the old portion of the roof. There's some rust spots that we want to put some extra attention to. We have a few nail pops that we're also going to address, but we're going to do a coat of primer first. So Gio is getting loaded up. He's got all of his safety gear on. He's got a couple of buckets of primer. He's headed up. He's going to be safe and he's going to get to work. All right, so he is up there. He used a brush on the seams a little bit, and now we're trying the roller. Just going to see which one's going to go better. That is a direct to metal primer from Sherwin-Williams. Obviously it's not pretty. It's just a white finish, but we're gonna go back over it with a metallic finish to try to keep that look of the old tin. All right, so it's the end of day 2. I did not get much footage. Our lift is giving us a little trouble, so the guy that we borrowed it from is actually gonna come take a look at it. So, but the good news is they were able to get this whole peak here primed, and you can see that we got all of that primed as well. There was a little bit of flashing issues around that chimney. We took care of that. The bad news is, while they were up there, they spotted a little bit of rotten siding. We're gonna address that, but we're gonna go ahead and handle finishing the roof first. So it looks terrible now because it's white. It's not going to stay white. We're going back with a metallic paint. If the primer is dry tomorrow, we will start with the paint tomorrow. But right now we are just packing up for the day. We got all of it except for the front of this peak right here. That peak right there where the chimney is. That has not been primed yet. We're gonna tackle that from the front tomorrow. Hopefully we'll get our lift a little bit more operational. But that's a wrap on day 2 of working on the roof at the stone house. All right, y'all, so it is day 3 working at the stone house, and the guys are up top there. One of them is up that ladder. So let me show you what's happening. All right, so if you can see, I don't know if you can see for the trees, Gio is in the bucket. Here, let me go outside the fence. Try to get a little further away. All right, so this morning we were able to finish priming that front corner, and so that has been done. And now Gio's up in the bucket and we are putting on this top coat. So we're using a fibered metallic paint. It's the same. Eventually we're gonna get where you can see Gio. Sort of, you can see him. He's painting from the bucket. It is a fibrous metallic paint. It's the same paint that we used on the roof of the Hyatt house, because the metallic obviously gives you that metallic look, which is what you want on a metal roof, and the fibers in it are good because they fill in any little holes, nail holes, anything you might have on the roof. So I can smell it from down here. They are putting that on liberally. Not sure if you can see, but they are dunking that roller in the bucket and then carefully rolling it on. That's the one area that we just can't get to any other way, and it's too steep and too high for them to climb on, so they are carefully staying on the ladder. And then Gio's working up there in the lift. All right, so I walked down the street so you could get a better view past the trees. You can see that they've gotten one coat, and we're hoping one coat may be enough. Gio's gonna make his way over to the other side. So you can see, I think you can see from here that there's that metallic finish on it. And I think it looks great. And there goes Gio. The lift is gone. The roof project is done. We did discover a little bit of rotten wood. We're gonna work on that next. First, we're gonna move to another project. We'll come back to this when we have a little more downtime. All right, so that's a wrap on recoating the stone house or the Congleton house roof. I think it turned out really well. Absolutely want to save these old roofs. They don't make them like they used to. It still has that metallic look. All the rust is gone, which will make insurance happy. And we patched a few little holes and did some flashing around that chimney. No longer leaking, no longer rusty. It looks great and it'll last for many years to come. Stay tuned for our next project.